Yeah, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a spark. Obviously, we've been extremely disappointed with the results of the last two games. Well beaten in the second half, down to 10 men against Newcastle, obviously, and on the night at Old Trafford, no disgrace in that in terms of who we're up against. Outstanding team, incredible individual players. But as I've always said, you always look at yourselves first and foremost, and the performances are not the levels that are going to give us an opportunity of getting something out of any game at the moment. So we need to dig deep now, and whatever the game is, whatever the next game is, we need a performance, and that gives us an opportunity of winning a game, and hopefully we can get that on Sunday afternoon.
You've got an honest group of players. Have they been able to offer an insight into why they've lost a little bit of an edge in the last few games?
You're certainly 100% right about that. So, I have never questioned their honesty and never will. Just knowing what their personalities are like, there's reasons that I believe we're not producing our best performances, and the players are below par on having to produce best performances to get results. We've always said we needed to play at our max, but they're an honest group, so they'll be hurting as much as we all are at the club, because it's not the standard that we've set so far this season. So we've given them the time to clear their head. I think that was important. The schedule is there for everybody to see in terms of the games, and obviously we've done a little bit of travelling, first 3 games away from home as well. So good to get back to Bramall Lane, but we've given them a little bit of time to clear their heads, because they look quite tired physically, and everybody who's in professional sport will know from a mentality point of view, when you're not playing well, there's a drain on you mentally. So clear their heads hopefully in the last couple of days. As always, come in and look forward to the next challenge.
You've not had much time with the quick turnaround from the Manchester United game. So what's been the priority from your perspective? What's been the key message to the players?
Well, I've given them a couple of days off, Tim. So I think that was the right thing to do. They've not had hardly any days off so far because of the schedule recovery. So I've given them a couple of days off to recover at home. As you've said, they're honest professionals, so they'll do what they need to do away from the training ground and away from the football club, and refresh themselves. From that point of view, I think that was the right way to go about it. We don't usually do that, but we needed to change something up. As I said, it's been pretty full on right the way through. So and I'll be clear with my message to them on the lead up to the game against Arsenal, and in terms of the preparation that we need to do. From an analysis point of view, and obviously trying to pick the best team that I see fit that can get us a result on Sunday.
Last night, Liverpool secured the Premier League title. You know how difficult it is, Chris, to win Premier League games. So can you just put into words their achievement from your perspective, and just what makes Jurgen Klopp so special?
Yeah, congratulations to Jurgen and Liverpool Football Club, and from myself and everybody at Sheffield United, players and staff and supporters. They've been standout performers this season. The consistency levels that they've shown week in, week out, game in, game out, have been incredible. Obviously the stats in games, the stats on their games in terms of draws and losses through their season is just a huge achievement. So they've got that mentality themselves, the players, and obviously driven by by arguably the best manager in Europe at this particular time. You know, we've obviously first time of meeting Jurgen and coming up against his team this year, and two different types of games from our point of view. One where we got very close to them, and one where we were a million miles off of them. And just their intensity, their desire, and that's not even talking about, you know, how fabulous the football players they've got from a talent point of view. Just the work ethic, day in, day out, I should imagine, and driven by the manager. So congratulations, and as always, it's about that consistency right the way through the campaign, regardless of what challenges you have in front of you, the hurdles that you have to get over, which they've certainly done that, and to come to win it pretty comfortably is an amazing achievement, especially after not winning it for 30 years.
Thanks, Chris. Good luck on Sunday.
Cheers, Tim. Thanks.
Hi, Chris. Morning. It's Andy from Radio Sheffield here.
Morning, Andy.
Morning. Quick to begin with then, injuries, how are you looking post Old Trafford?
Just the one that we have to assess with Jack. You know, he's improving by the day. We'll assess that over the next 24, 48 hours. And obviously, you know, as you know, the mentality of the boy is he wants to get back out there and play his part, which he obviously has done very, very successfully in his time at the football club. So I've got to say though, I thought Jack Robinson has been in what is an obviously disappointing and difficult return for ourselves in terms of the performances and the results that we've got. I think Jack Robinson's been very, very good, and one of the plus points that's come out of this disappointing first three games. But having Jack around, having Jack available, obviously boosts us as a team.
Encouraging though that after a relatively short amount of time, he perhaps has a chance of being involved at the weekend. Then, yeah,
very encouraging. You know. Unfortunate, and these things have happened, and they all seem to have come at the same time. And obviously the injuries, as we've talked about, you know, we've had a settled back five right the way through. So you've seen obviously in terms of the selection of the team, and obviously John being out for the first game, Fleck. But Jack's been a big player for us, so to get him back involved boosts us tremendously, and hopefully he'll be available for selection.
Since we last spoke to you, has anything moved on, if only from an admin point of view, about Dean Henderson and him sticking around till the end of the season?
I just left that with Carl Schieber to deal with. That's from football club to football club, from administration point of view, and he'll tell me when that's done and dusted.
I suppose the same question goes for the players that you were talking to about contracts. Has anything changed there?
Yeah, that's the same. That's above me in terms of obviously. I think it's well known that I have an input which is important. But now that's above me, and you know, I think, obviously it is part of the game and it is part of the trade and the industry that we're in. But I think, you know, what myself and the players should really be looking at the moment is how to get us a decent performance, or one that's up to the standard that they've set. So you know, I've got to say, Andy, I've not really taken much interest in extending and rewarding at this particular moment, as you can understand why. Because I think first we need to look at, you know, getting a decent performance out of my team. You know, talk about it. I think the first game, it was okay. The first half at Newcastle was okay. The second half, a couple of things went against us, individual errors and sending off, and we were well off of it at Old Trafford. And I just, you know, it is difficult to take because I'm a competitor. But then, you know, as I've always said, you know, we're going toe to toe with Manchester United from a league position, or were, and looking at that performance and what players that they've had and can call on, and where we are at as a football club. You know, I don't think I'm going to make the most surprising of statements in saying that, you know, we're quite a way off. And we've said all along, we said at the start of the season, you know, we have to get our performances right up to the max, which we're not at the moment. We have to have a settled side, which we haven't at the moment. Bounce of a ball with injuries and decisions as well. But we have to be absolute max to gain any sort of result in this Premier League. And you know, we had that meeting at the start of the season, and it's not been defeatist. But when those big teams and those big players say yes, and the other things go against you, then that opens up the opportunity of you not getting the result that you want. And certainly that was the case at Old Trafford. They said yes. You know, manner of the goals, timing of the goals was really poor from our point of view. And from then on, it looked a real struggle and felt a real struggle for us. And it's something, like I said, it hurts because we're not used to that. We're used to being competitive, and we haven't been. We haven't been since the second goal really went in at Newcastle, and what happened in Manchester on Wednesday night.
But of the big teams that you have faced this year, Arsenal are a side that you've beaten and drawn against. What confidence do you take from that ahead of this cup match this weekend?
We could take confidence. You know, I said before, the game perspective about, you know, taking Manchester United, taking Manchester City and Liverpool out of the equation. You know, 2 defeats in 21 Premier League games. You know, in my opinion, really, it shouldn't just be Liverpool and Manchester City. It should be Manchester United. It possibly should be Chelsea and Tottenham and Arsenal that we're talking about there, but we're not. So the perspective of that is that, yeah, we've had 2 positive results, a home win and an away draw at the Emirates. So we can gain confidence as we've talked about right the way through, and we should do. But only if we produce a full tilt performance and a maximum performance, and that's got to be the aim on for us against Arsenal. We've got to look, whether it's back to basics. You know, I've certainly done a lot of thinking over this last sort of week or 10 days, and looking at the players, and it hurts, of course, because, you know, we certainly didn't want to restart in the manner that we've done, but we have done, and we have to try and affect that. I've got to try and affect that, and trying to find out and get the answers from somewhere. And I'll look as deep as I possibly I can, and maybe at times I'll look too deep and just say, well, listen, you know, we're not on form. There's a couple of things that have happened to us. How do we regain form? You know, we have to be brave. We have to be brave in our performance, our attitude, and the next game, as I've always said, is the most important, regardless if it's in the FA Cup or it's a league game.
Brilliant. Best of luck Sunday. Thanks.
Cheers, Andy. Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Start.
Bruce,
Hey,
you want any?
Yeah, please.
Hey, mate.
Hi, Chris, you all right?
Yeah, good.
How does your approach differ, Chris, to this cup quarter-finals to what a normal one would be?
No, not at all. Nothing. We've had to, as I said, we altered the preparation because I felt after Wednesday night, you know, it has been, you know, the schedule right the way through Wednesday up to Newcastle Saturday, over to Manchester. So good to be back at home. Looking forward to playing at Bramall Lane, even though the effect of an incredible crowd won't be there to help us, which I don't think it has done over sort of the last 3 games. You know, definitely, 3 experiences that we would have loved to have been involved with, and I think we would have taken more of an advantage from. But we have to get back to the mentality of what's given us our best performances, and time for players, as we've talked about in the last 24, 48 hours, to reflect on their contributions and their performances just as much as what I'm doing at the moment and what I'm and my coaching staff are giving to the team. So it's always a balance. It's always a together situation, and so the preparation, 48 hours off, in onto what we have to do, and be better at everything that we need to do to give us an opportunity against another, regardless of what results they've had, another really powerful football club in the Premier League in the quarter-final of the FA Cup.
Do you still see them as a powerful club? Because they're in transition right now, and I'd say that Mikel Arteta's got a lot more problems on his plate than you have.
I don't feel that way at the moment, Ian. So don't take this the wrong way. I quite like to have his problems, but we all have our own issues, especially when things aren't going great, and they're not going great for us. So we have to lift each other, ourselves, and look forward to the next challenge. But you can never not say that Arsenal aren't a powerful football club in the Premier League. Being in the division right the way through, won things, going through a stage like everybody does. The great Manchester United team went through that stage and come out the other end. So teams do, and you're talking about Liverpool, an iconic football club that haven't won the Premier League for 30 years. That's just an incredible stat, isn't it, really? So just shows you how dominant Manchester United have been, in Chelsea and Manchester City, but still doesn't take away that the likes of Arsenal and Spurs and big clubs in this division, huge powerful football clubs, regardless of what form they're showing at the moment.
Couple of quick ones to end with. First of all, obviously you've been back 3 games, but I guess nothing will be quite as surreal or bring home to you quite the fact that we're playing football as we are, as going into the stadium you love and you've known for so many years, with nobody in on Sunday. Yeah,
I mean, we have to get over that and accept that it is difficult. And I mean, regardless if you're playing in front of a stadium that's onto you if you're having a poor time, or they're right behind you. Fortunately for us, because of the sort of performances and results we've had over the last 3 years, and the supporters have been unbelievably on our side, and we've had 100% backing, and rightly so. So it will be strange and it was surreal, and as it was, going into Old Trafford and Villa Park and Newcastle over the last 3 games. The build up, as we've talked about, the build up, the pre-match meal, the coach to the ground, and everything, everything that we all love and enjoy about the game, the intensity and the buzz. So, but we've got, we have to find the answer from somewhere, and we can't just say as a team, well, it's because the supporters are not behind us, or the supporters are not here, or we've had 10 minutes at Newcastle and we've had a bit of the ball, and all of a sudden their punters are turning on them, or the pressure that Aston Villa might have felt if we'd have gone into their backyard and started knocking the ball around and at Manchester United. So there's all different ways of looking at it always, but we have to, can't use that as an excuse. Sure, we have to do better, and the players, as already talked about, put an enormous amount of work into their careers to get to this stage, and they don't like losing. We have to, as I've talked about before, Ian, accept that when Man United do say yes and they do score after 5 minutes, and it's Pogba into Matic and into Fernandes and round the corner to Martial and through to Rashford and back to Martial, and the brilliance that those players possess, rightly so, because of where they've come from, the fees that they command, and playing for Manchester United, they are going to produce those performances. But from our point of view, got to do a lot better, and the players know that.
Good luck on Sunday.
Cheers, Ian. Take care, mate. Good to see you.
Rob Staten.
Hey, Rob.
Hi, Chris. It's a chance to get to Wembley, isn't it? Even if there's not going to be any fans there, that's still significant.
It's still significant, a chance to win a football match, Rob. That is really how we're approaching it. And it would have been the same if it was a third round of the FA Cup. This is, you lose 2 games, give away daft goals. Are pretty passive in definitely one of the games, and not where we're at. From a competitor's point of view, I would expect a reaction, and hoping that we'll get that regardless of if it's at Wembley or not. But certainly, quarter-final of a major cup competition home to Arsenal is one that the players should be really looking forward to.
I can sense from that answer that you're not looking too far ahead, but it is nearly 100 years since Sheffield United won the FA Cup, and that opportunity to make a bit of history still exists, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're always trying to, you're always trying to put down a marker in terms of what you've done for that season. So I want this to be a successful season for Sheffield United, as last year was, and as the other 2 seasons have been, relatively speaking. So, whatever it is, to get through to the semi-final is a great incentive, and then obviously we'll reassess it off that if we do play well enough. I think really though, I have to break it down. From my point of view as a manager, and we have to, as a coaching staff, to give the boys the best preparation to get back on track, to get their standards back up, and they have to dig a little bit deeper and give a little bit more. And I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't on Sunday. And I think that shows you how high I regard my players, and I feel for them at this particular moment, because they're trying, even though it might not look as if they are. They are. The numbers suggest that. They're just below and not at it from an individual point of view. And you pull that all together, then we're going to be below where we want to be on a collective performance. But I understand you asking about trying to get through to semi-final and try to win a cup competition. But I think really the focus 100% is the performance levels have got to be better than what they have been, and hopefully they will do. And then with a bounce of a ball, as I keep saying, performances will up, and we'll give ourselves an opportunity, and we have. We've got, I'm sure Mikel will recognise that, if we produce our best performance, we're gonna be a tough opponent on Sunday, just as much as I know the players, what they've got, how they can hurt us too.
Thanks, Chris. Good luck.
Cheers, Rob. Thank you.
Going to the Scribblers, I think. Shields, do you want to kick off?